Hi everybody, it's Susan, and I have had so many requests for the measurements and instructions on how to build these cabinets that I decided, rather than to try to explain it all in writing and send it out to, 3 dozen people, basically, that I would just do a video and explain it on the video. I will put all of the dimensions in the description box for you so that you don't have to try to write them down while I'm talking. And this way too, if you have someone, whether it's your scrubby or a friend or a neighbor or yourself, ladies, you can do this too, that wants to build this, you can show them the video and then they can see exactly how this was put together, and it will just make the whole process a lot easier on both you if you're building it, and if not you, it will still make it easier on you because whoever is building it will understand better how they were put together. This is pretty basic construction. With a little patience, anybody can do this. Okay, so let's get into this. The cabinet itself, which is without the drawers, just the cabinet, measures 22 inches wide, 22 inches deep, and 32 inches tall. Okay, and you will need to cut for just the cabinet, you will need to cut 2 pieces, which will be the top piece, which is what you're looking at here, and the piece at the bottom. And those 2 pieces need to be 22 inches by 22 inches, and this is all 3/4 inch material, and by that I mean it's 3/4 of an inch deep here. Okay, so if you were to buy 3/4 inch plywood for the cabinet, that would be right. 3/4 inch refers to the depth here. Okay. Also for the cabinet, you're going to need to cut 2 sides. Obviously, there's one on each side, and those are 21 1/4 inches this way, and 30 1/2 inches long. Okay, and the back, which you can see the back there, the back is 22 inches wide by 30 1/2 inches long. So that's how big the back is. And to put this together, now you'll notice that there are no screws here. You don't see any screws because the screws are in the top piece, and they are put in, sorry about that, they are put in this way. Okay, now when you go to put these together, you'll want to pre-drill all of your holes, and you'll want to countersink your screws. And let me explain to you what countersinking is, just in case you don't know. Alright, I pulled out a drawer so you can see it, and let me get this, tip this up on its side so you can get a better look. See how those screws, let me pull back and zoom. Okay, see how that screw is just a skosh below the surface? That's a countersink. And what that's going to do, by countersinking all of your screws, and all of the screws in this entire project need to be countersinked, because by countersinking, like when you put the top together, it keeps your tabletop from catching on the screws. If they weren't countersinked, they would stick up just a little, so that your top would drag and it'll tear up your top, and eventually it'll tear up your cabinet. Now when you're talking about countersinking the bottom piece down there, that's to keep it from damaging your flooring, whether you have oak floors like mine, or carpet, linoleum, tile, whatever. The weight of this cabinet sitting on your floor, if this screw head here was sticking down and poking into it, it will damage your floors. So they need to be countersunk. Okay, now when it comes to the drawers, you can see all of the screws on the drawers are also countersunk. If these were level here, like this, they would stick up just a little. See how that sticks up just a tiny bit? And those will drag on the inside of your cabinet and will tear it up. It will also eventually compromise the strength of your drawer, and your drawers will get wobbly. You also don't want to use nails for this project. You want to use screws. Okay? So men, put away the pen nailers, get out the DeWalt. And ladies, if you don't understand what that means, don't worry about it, the men do. There's just some words are girl words and some words are boy words. Some of us girls understand both. But if you don't understand, it's okay. This is not a project that you can nail together or pin nail together and have it last, because as you pull these out and push them in and pull them out and push them in, eventually if this is nailed and not screwed, those nails are going to get loose and then you're going to have problems. Okay? So that's the cabinet. For the interior of the cabinet, you obviously need something for your drawers to glide on. Okay? Oh, I forgot a piece, I'm sorry. The spacer here at the top. The spacer measures, I wrote it down, 2.5 inches this way and 20.5 inches long. That's your spacer piece. Okay, now I'm going to get down on the floor so I can explain the interior construction. And I know it's kind of dark in there, but you can see the basics. And these drawer runners, here and here and here, and obviously there's one under every drawer all the way down. This bottom drawer here sits on the bottom of the cabinet. Sorry about that. So you won't have a drawer runner under this one. This will just sit on the bottom of the cabinet. For these other ones, the drawer runner material is 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch. And that's what those are. And these are just leftover, looks like oak 1x that we just ripped down. And again, you can see there, the screws are all countersunk in. And you're wondering why there's a runner up here when there's not a drawer up there. This runner is to keep the top drawer from, when you pull it out, from tipping down. That will keep your drawer level. It'll hold it in place. So the measurements on these, and you can see they go all the way, I hope you can see, they go all the way back to the corner of the cabinet, but in the front there's an inch, I think it's 1.25 inches, where they stop from the front. Okay, and that is to allow room, you can see there, for your drawer front, and then just a little extra, just so they don't catch and get dinged up. Now this top runner is 2.5 inches from the top of the cabinet up here. So from, and I know it's dark, I'm sorry, from here to the top of this is 2.5 inches. Then your runners are 3 7/8 inches apart. From the bottom of this one to the top of this one is 3 7/8 inches. Okay? What I would suggest that you do, and this is how we did the first one when we were putting these together, was we set the bottom drawer in. And then we marked on the side of the cabinet with a pencil where the drawer was. We went up 1/8 of an inch, and that's where the bottom of our next runner went. So that way, if your drawers end up being a little off from these measurements, it'll still work for you. Okay, now for the drawer construction. Let me get back in my little chair. The drawers are basically 6 pieces. Okay, so let me get this over here so you can see it. And I'm just going to lay it on the floor, I think. Ouch. Okay, here you go. There's your drawer. Let me adjust my light up here a little. There we go. I think that'll be a little better. So, this is what we've got. The bottom of the drawer here, obviously you know what a bottom is. measures 18 3/4 by 19 3/4 inches. In other words, it is 18 3/4 inches wide by 19 3/4 inches long. Okay? The back of the drawer, which is this piece here, right here, measures 20 1/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches. The sides, the pieces that make up the sides of your drawers, are 19 3/4 by 3 3/4. And the front piece, which is the actual front of the drawer, measures 20 1/4 inches by 4 1/2 inches. Okay? And the front backer, which is this little piece here, measures 18 3/4 by 2 1/4. Okay. Now let me explain how the drawers were put together. I did help put together like 4 drawers, so boogers are heavy. Okay. To put the drawers together, you'll lay your back flat on your work surface and line up the first side of your drawer, and you can see here it is flush here, and it should be flush at the front corner, and it should be flush at the back corner. See, here's your side and here's your bottom, and see how these are flush. And again, you need to countersink and pre-drill all of your pieces. You put your 2 sides on first. That's first. And then you will put the back on your drawer, and it is the same way. You can see that your back is then flush with your sides, at both ends. And the screws again are countersunk, and you've got 3 screws to hold the bottom. See, there's the bottom of your drawer. You have 3 to hold the bottom, and then you have 2 to hold the sides, 1 at each end. Okay? And that will put the sides and the back on. Now, to put the front on, because you don't want to drill holes in the front of your drawer and have screws sticking out here where you can see them. So to put the front on, first you will put on the backer piece, the little short piece here, this one. And it will go on the same way. You'll line it all up, and you can see how that lines up right. Here's your side, and it lines up inside. See there? And this is then screwed on from the front, and of course this piece won't be here yet. This won't be put on yet. So the backer piece is screwed on from the front, just like we did the sides here, and then you'll put a screw in the side as well to stabilize that. And then the actual front piece of your drawer that you want to look nice, and you don't want any screw holes in this, you don't want it to look all hinky. So then you will put that on, and that will screw in from the back of the small piece that you just put in. And that will hold the front of your drawer nice and stable. Now, to make the little scoop out in the drawers here, like so that you have little pull handles, they literally took a roll of duct tape. Now, this is no lie, this is how they did it. They took a roll of duct tape, they measured down 1 inch, set the roll of duct tape on the inch marker, and traced around the outside of it. So it does not have to be hard. It can be easy. In fact, here is a Rubbermaid container that would work absolutely just as well. So, not hard, you guys. Now, like I said, I will put all of the dimensions in the description box. I also want to mention that these drawers made out of the 3/4 inch board like this are very heavy. Okay, so what you might want to build your drawers out of is pine. And if you're going to buy pine to build the drawers out of, you would buy the one, it's called one. Sorry about that, you guys. I was saying, if you wanted to build the drawers out of something other than plywood, you could use pine lumber, and it's called 1x. Now, I know this doesn't make sense, because if you say 1x, it should be 1 inch thick this way. It's not. Dimensional lumber is no longer dimensional. A 1x piece of pine is actually 3/4 of an inch thick, which is what this material is. It's also much lighter. So, that's a hint. It's easier to work with. I would not suggest that you buy this laminated material unless you are someone with woodworking experience. This stuff can be horrible to work with. If you don't have a lot of woodworking and you're not sure of your skills, go ahead and buy the plywood to build the cabinet, and then either use the plywood or the pine for the drawers, and I would suggest the pine. Okay? That's just me. I'm just saying. And yes, I do have construction experience. I was a project manager before I lost my job. So, that would be my suggestion. Also, after some discussion with Scrubby, if you live within a reasonable driving distance of our home in Perry, Iowa, and you would like to have these built for you, we will build them. So if you're interested in that, you will have to pick them up. But we will build them with the 3/4 inch plywood and the pine lumber for you. You will have to come and pick them up. So if you're interested in having us build these for you, please send me a private message. As far as shipping, you guys, these would just be cost prohibitive to ship. I'm afraid that the shipping would be as much as the cabinets. I mean, I'm just being honest. If you want to look into shipping, private message me. I don't know what else to tell you, but that's the deal. So, those are the dimensions. That's how we put it together. Not hard. And if you guys have any other questions, drop me a message. Let me know. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and thank you for so much interest in my little recycled materials project that Scrubby did for me. I just love these. I think they're great. Oh, one other thing I want to point out, because you guys have obviously the dimensions. Please don't mind my mess. I had to take things out of my drawers to do this video. You will see, and I've told you that these are 32 inches high. These cabinets are not table height. They're not your standard desk height. Okay? Your standard desk is about 29 inches high. These are 32. With the top on them, they are roughly about the height of your kitchen countertops. Somewhere in that zone, I think. So you will see that I have a stool. I have a hydraulic stool that goes up and down, and I either sit on that or I stand when I scrap. So these are taller than normal. If you wanted them tabletop height, it would, or standard desk height, it would be as simple as eliminating the bottom drawer. Okay? So, you can do that. You'll then have to adjust the size of your cabinet, but that's not hard. I mean, you guys can figure that one out. That's simple subtraction. So that's it, you guys. Thanks for stopping in and watching my channel. I really appreciate everybody and all the views and the comments, and keep them coming. Okay, guys. Everybody have a great Sunday. Bye-bye.